New records reveal Tiffany Henyard and her boyfriend, 𝗪𝗧𝗛𝗏, were taking down on an annual basis $450,000. How can you not pay rent when you're making $450,000 a year? Let's get into the numbers that came up from WGN. Here we go. We're going to watch a little bit of a longer video. It's almost 6 minutes long, but it's got some of the classic Tiffany Henyard footage, WGN. But Ben Bradley, he's the dude that came up with that first sequence. Were you in Vegas? And she's like, no. Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. Let's watch it.
Self-proclaimed super mayor Tiffany Henyard leaves office in the next few weeks after being badly beaten at the ballot box. Questionable spending, clashes with trustees, and an ongoing FBI investigation led to her undoing.
The investigative reporter Ben Bradley broke many of the stories that exposed the issues, and tonight he returns to the south suburbs for a new accounting of Henyard's reign.
Her reign. This is great. Look, watch this. Hold on. Turns around.
On the Tiffany Henyard show, but not before one last dance.
Supervisor.
Here we go. She totally blows him off.
Why you out here? Why are you out here?
Just blows him off. That was great.
Final food giveaway and a new tally of what she's cost taxpayers. On Easter week, cars lined up for blocks. Tens of thousands of tax dollars spent for another one of Henyard's famous food giveaways.
Look at her marketing.
Last run, and I did not vote for that woman, and I never didn't vote for her before. But I'm gonna give me something to eat today.
I like the gift.
At least she's honest.
She's nasty.
She's giving us back what we already gave, but ain't nobody else doing that either.
Tiffany Henyard does spend a lot of money, some of it on worthwhile programs, but she's also benefited handsomely and questionably. Newly obtained records show last year, Henyard was paid more than $347,000 from Thornton and Thornton Township, the two governments she runs. That's more than Chicago's mayor makes. Henyard's
and remember, this is just Tiffany Henyard. Her boyfriend was making over $100K. I think it was like 105, 103, 107, something like that, working for the Township of Thornton in some kind of, help the kids not be violent type program that allegedly he never really did. Didn't show any results from his work anyway. He just took his paychecks and kept taking his paychecks. So $450,000. That is some money. I mean, that's CEO type money. Like they said, that's more money than Let's Go Brandon Johnson makes.
Includes $282,000 from the township, which also gave her a $4,900 per month expense allowance and an $1,100 monthly vehicle allowance.
Wow.
Despite the fact Dalton taxpayers spent six figures on two SUVs police used to chauffeur Henyard.
Trustee Gray Everett, Supervisor Henyard.
And did we mention Henyard hasn't attended a single meeting since she lost re-election?
Why haven't you been to board meetings since your defeat?
Watch this.
You don't want to answer? You're still getting paid. Why not go to the meetings?
That is classic Tiffany Henyard. You don't like the question? You just flat ignore it and start doing a little dance and start singing some songs and then find some random dude in a car to go talk to and, hey, it's your super mayor. Funny stuff. Look at that.
It proves that what she was doing was very selfish. It wasn't about the people.
Stephanie Wiedemann worked for the township for 20 years and blew the whistle on many of Henyard's antics.
If she had just said, I made a mistake, everybody would have moved on. We pointed out the mistakes and she put on the show. Everybody paid attention because every 2 weeks it was like a sitcom.
Y'all are black, and y'all sitting up here beating and attacking on a black woman. That's power. Be ashamed of yourself.
You the ones that's costing the village money. I don't know how they call it. All right.
Well, she said, you want to come to expound them? Don't drag out the meeting.
I made a motion.
WGN Investigates has documented first-class trips for Henyard and her entourage that cost taxpayers well over $100,000. There was a stay at a Four Seasons and steak dinners. In late 2023, this was how she explained it.
I do not handle anything as relates to credit cards. as you heard me speak today in my board meeting about, I do not handle that.
Some of those charges are for you, though.
No, sir.
You didn't go to Las Vegas?
Watch this.
What is that? You don't know if you were in Las Vegas?
Of course I do.
Were you?
It's not paid by them.
Taxpayers are the ones stuck.
Yeah, it was. It was. It was literally paid by taxpayers. And she gets an extra $600 a day when she's out of town on arguably town business. $600 a day. Gets $400 when she's driving around Illinois. That's in her contract. It's part of the contract. It was on taxpayers. And she's already, between she and her boyfriend, $450,000. That's damn near close to $40,000 gross a month. It's like, what, 36? 36? I mean, do the math. It's not that hard. It's a boatload. It is a chunk. It's a lot more than it's a lot more than a lot of folks make in a year. And she was taking that down on a monthly basis. But hey, let's go to Vegas. Let's go to Atlanta. Let's go to Portland and see what's going on.
With the bill, the supervisor and others get unusual perks, including $600 a day for every day they travel out of state for the township and $400 per day for travel within Illinois, plus the cost of their travel expenses. We tenured successor, whether he agrees with the supersized paydays.
What you make is based upon what you are able to deliver. That's more so saying, like, people, professional athletes should get paid millions of dollars. That doctors should be, or teachers for that matter. So I'm not going to get here and go into a debate about what should be getting or what should be this salary or this.
With what we've been through and how.
What I would say there is the $200,000, the big number that Tiffany Henyard gets from the township of Thornton. She got that because she took over the position of I don't know how many times the guy had been voted in. The position she took over for the dude that died, he had been there forever, and she basically inherited his position while he was in office, and then was able to finagle her way into keeping that salary, or the period just hadn't run out and it just ran out. I can't remember which was the case, but she was able to inherit an incredibly high salary. Her salary for township or the village of Dalton wasn't that much. 𝗪𝗏 got a $100K salary for doing arguably what some say nothing, which wouldn't be shocking. You put it all together, that's some good money. And she couldn't pay a $200 increase on her rent? Doesn't make sense, does it? No. Maybe the FBI's right. Maybe there's some real flagrant stuff going on here. I'm not seeing anything majorly new here, but we're able to quantify some of the expenses a little bit better. And we're like, oh, okay, that was the actual number. And she got additionally this, and she got this, and she got this. And when you look at the end result, good Lord, that's a lot of money. I mean, that's rock star money.
We saw it is to abuse the system. I think it's important that the residents pay attention and continue to pay attention and continue to hold people accountable.
Despite it all, the spending, a questionable cancer charity, an ongoing FBI investigation, and even a brawl at a board meeting.
God, that was wild. Just a throwdown.
I think she's doing what men have been doing for years as far as her security and all those things. She needs that. She give back.
Let's talk about that for a second. Who was going after Tiffany Henyard? Did she get shot in the ear? Did she get shot in the ear like Trump? I don't think so. Is anybody gunning for Tiffany Henyard? I don't think so. I see zero support for that theory. And yet she's literally rolling around with how many cops? 2 big SUVs? Even though she's already got a car allowance? I mean, these things don't add up. But again, is it enough for the FBI? Is it enough for the feds to drop the hammer on her with some actual charges? That's where I am reluctant. And even with these new numbers, I'm reluctant to say they're going to stick her with some kind of crazy charges and she'll cop a plea deal and she'll do a year or two. I am I am reticent to say that will happen. I am more likely to say, I think she skates with some kind of reprimand, some kind of file, some kind of fine, some kind of ethics deal. You know what I mean? It's pretty rare. You got to do something wildly flagrant, which we haven't seen so far, because none of the stuff that Lori Lightfoot brought up, none of that to me was enough to really hammer her with some good charges. Just not seeing it. Is there some questionable spending? Yes. Is that criminal? You got to remember, this is South Chicago politics, so, take it with a grain of salt, right? I know all you guys want to say, she belongs in prison. All right. Okay, I hear you. But I'm saying the reality is, if you were betting, if you were taking whatever your net worth is, whatever you take all your assets minus your liabilities, and you were to put that on, maybe you got nothing. I've been there many, many times. Maybe you got nothing. Maybe somebody gives you $100,000 to get going. Would you be willing to put that on the fact that the FBI is going to level charges at her? If you really got down to it and you really spent some time studying this like I have, you'd be reticent to put your net worth, put your $100,000, put whatever on that. I just don't think that's a great bet. I'm hoping I'm wrong. Let's keep going.
To the community, so, what more can people ask for?
And Tiffany Henyard vows the show will go on.
You told us on Election Day we haven't heard the last year. What's next for you?
It's a lot next for me. Stay tuned.
The FBI is still tuned in. Sources say agents have visited.
Okay, that was funny. That was a great, great intro to his outro, which is the FBI is still paying attention. The FBI is taking a little look-see at what you got going on, because that FBI investigation, it's still out there. I think they're waiting for her to be out of office fully, and then they'll reveal whatever. Because as we understand it, I think it was, a week or two ago, they furthered their scope into the township of Thornton. The FBI did, taking a little look-see what's going on there. And they were asking some of the township of Thornton employees some specific questions.
Sources say agents have visited several of Henyard's allies at home in recent weeks, looking for information and cooperation. As for the six-figure township supervisor's salary, it was 6 times higher than the leaders of Illinois' other largest townships, but it will be reduced to just over $50,000 per year when the new supervisor takes over in mid-May. Some of the other allowance perks?
That's normal.
They'll remain in place. Ben Bradley, WGN Investigates.
We know that they're making $450,000 a month for a couple of years there. They were making that amount of money, right? So say after taxes, say they pay 40% in taxes, say they don't have much in the way of write-off, paying 40% in taxes at $450K a year, divide that by 12, it's $37,500. I actually did the math. That's gross. You're still netting $22,500 a month per month. All right. You could pay a lot of bills on that. And yet we had this ridiculous drama in October of 2024. Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard faces eviction. Landlord speaks out. I have nowhere else to turn. Remember that? She had raised the rent $200, I think it was. Hall said that things started to unravel this summer when she was forced to raise the rent by $200 to $2,400 a month because her property taxes went up again. Yeah, they did. Big increase, right? Get an increase to $2,400 a month. So you're making $22,500 net a month, roughly somewhere in there, maybe a little bit more because I rounded up the tax liability at 40% instead of 37, whatever it might be, and without any kind of, tax write-offs. I know she doesn't own a home and she's got one kid, and she's got all of her expenses paid for, right? She doesn't have a ton of expenses because she doesn't have them because the city, the entities are paying for them. So Tiffany Henyard and her boyfriend can't figure out how to make $2,400 a month, and they're making $22,500 a month. 10%? You can't make it 10% of their net income? What's going on there? Yeah. It doesn't add up. But again, maybe it's one of those deals where Tiffany Henyard's like, hey, you know what? You're trying to stick us for another $200 a month? We'll show you. We just won't pay you. That's what happened. She's like, F you. We're not paying. You take your $200 a month and go F yourself. Because that story, the whole her getting evicted thing, that just kind of went away, didn't it? And then folks are saying she lives above the car wash. Does she live above the car wash? I kind of haven't been following because I've been dipping out. I keep saying I'm not doing any more of these podcasts, but stuff just keeps popping up. So never say never. Next thing we will hear is whatever the FBI has going on. Whatever the FBI has going on. We'll have to see what that looks like. Because, it just keeps on going further and further and further, doesn't it? And you're like, when's this going to end? I think it ends pretty soon. One way or the other, it ends pretty soon. Because she's not employed anymore. No longer employed. That last Easter was 2 weekends ago? And that's when Tiffany Henyard's last. And it wasn't even an authorized food giveaway, I don't think. And how many of those boxes with her name does she have? How many is Township of Thornton, or that was Village of Dalton, I think, what the giveaway, or was that Township of Thornton? That was Township of Thornton, the giveaway, the big food giveaway, wasn't it? I can't remember. Does it matter? Don't know. How many boxes does she have with her name on them? A lot. They already took her. They're already taking her name down around town. They're just, let's get rid of her. Man, this is taking long enough. Let's get rid of her. So coming up, what's the FBI got to say on Tiffany Henyard on the Tahoe Tiff without the Tahoes? Stay tuned. Make sure you're subscribed because you're going to want to know. And I'm going to cover it for you right here on News for Reasonable People. Thanks for being here. Catch up with you in the next one. Bye for now.